we're going to run through our top 25, the three of us, and critique each other's.
Yeah.
Agree with each other in some cases. But I can go first if there's no objections to that.
Yeah, you got it.
Cool. My top 3 stay the same. Have been the same for probably about 6-ish weeks now. I don't actually know the last time I've had movement in the top 3.
Week 9.
Week 9. So just an absolute lie for me.
That was 4 weeks.
Who lost week 8? That would have
Miami.
Miami.
Yeah,
Yep,
makes
that
sense.
makes perfect sense. Anyway, my top 3 has been the same for 4 weeks now. Won't change barring losses, which could happen. We'll see.
Yeah.
Georgia, however, moves up to 4 after a big win from them, and Alabama lost. Oregon slides up to 5. Texas Tech jumps a little bit up to 6. They just keep impressing. I think they're really hitting their stride at the right time. Talking about November football, this is when you want to be playing your best football, and I think they are. Good win for Ole Miss at home. They did get saved by the refs. I can't believe they pick up that pass interference flag. Ridiculous. One of the worst calls I've seen in a long time. I don't feel like it's getting talked about enough. Probably because Florida is like 4 and 3 and 5 or whatever they are. So there's not like. It wasn't like it was a high-profile game between top 25 matchups. But like if that happens in the Georgia-Texas game, it's everywhere.
And that's how Texas wins that game in a manner like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. Notre Dame stays put.
They'd still be picking the trash up off the field right now.
BYU at 9. Oklahoma jumps up big to 10. Kind of feels like they stole the win in Bryant-Denny, but a win is a win is a win. Alabama slides right behind them in at 11. Vandy's there at 12. Utah all the way up to 13. I feel like I had to readjust on them. They absolutely killed Baylor. And once again, they're playing their best football right now at the most important time. Georgia Tech drops 1 to 14. Eke out a win. Still a win. Virginia at 15. Excuse me. So I forgot, since I had a gap, they lost and then they won. So that's why they dropped 4, even though they just won.
Yeah.
Miami at 16. James Madison, 17. USC, a big win against Iowa. They're at 18. Michigan's back ranked at 19. Texas drops to 20. I know they have 3 losses, but, I mean...
They have 2 right now.
Texas has 3.
Oh, you're right.
But, I mean, you lost on the road at Ohio State. You lost on the road at Georgia. I still think you're a top 25 team. It just was not your best showing. North Texas, 21. Missouri, back ranked. I thought they looked really good. Weird QB situation factors in a little bit there. And then a couple teams either reappearing or making their first appearance in the rankings in Houston, Arizona, and San Diego State.
I can confirm Houston is not a reappearance. We have to break it down, I guess, before I bring it up. I'll bring it up on another screen.
I feel like they are a reappearance for me.
Yeah, they've been on his ballot before.
I misspoke in that entire sentence.
Do you
you
want to
mean-
move on or take
I can
take 2?
confirm that Houston is a reappearance.
Gotcha.
Yes, that
I was
agree
very
with that.
confused. I was like, they're the one that is a reappearance.
JP just trying to gaslight you. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you never ranked Houston. Like, even when they were undefeated, you never ranked
I
them.
swear I respect Connor Weigman and Dean Connors.
I mean, I don't really have anything I think of note to say. It is a little weird. We'll have to try. I'm gonna see if I can get your ballot in like post date it into last week just to like
You can't
have
look
that.
at the trends. I shouldn't have even talked about them for the first half of the ballot because they're actually not accurate relative to my last week ranking. I don't know why I didn't put it in. I was lazy, I guess, because I mean, once again,
I just forgot.
It's sitting in the spreadsheet, the Winter Festivities Board spreadsheet. So I don't know why, but yeah. Anything, JP?
School up North is too high,
Sure. Classic.
per usual. And it just feels like, I guess, 15 through 25. This is just a observation of any ballot in the country right now. Just feels like, man, these are not. For one, there's a lot of non-Power 4 teams.
Yeah.
And weaker Power 4 teams, you might even argue.
Sure.
It just doesn't feel like, man, dude, much of these teams deserve to even be ranked at this spot because it's not a many of them don't have very big wins. And
Correct.
Miami is a big win, but other than that, like their best attributes to their resume are their losses,
Yeah.
competitive losses
100%.
to other teams.
And it sucks too because I swear every time I do, like, especially my 20 through 25, 4 of those teams lose the next week, and so then it's like I have to I'm like just recycling teams in those spots.
Texas has the Oklahoma win, which is like towing the line between a big win because Mateer coming out from that injury. It's a neutral site, but I would still call
And
that
you
a
beat
big
Vandy
win.
as well.
You do beat Vandy. True.
So you have 2.
Yeah, you have. I would call those big wins for.
But
for
I get what you're
Texas.
saying, JP, and on that note, like, I'm not barring anything egregious. Like, if you tried to rank North Carolina or something, I'm not going to fault anyone too much for their rankings in, like, the lower most part of their ballot.
I'm glad to hear that because I do have a team ranked that probably multiple, but I have a team that ranked that I know y'all don't have ranked because they have a big win. And then some other like tier 2 wins as well.
Yeah, I may disagree, but I'm not gonna be like I think that's like objectively wrong or like
Yeah.
An
Do
insane.
you want
take.
to go ahead and I can go next and JP?
yeah,
I mean,
sure.
can you guess? Have you already looked
I
at my
already
ballot?
looked at it.
Okay.
I'm
Jack,
trying to think who has a big win, multiple tier 2 wins that neither of us have ranked.
I think neither. I'm pretty sure neither of y'all have.
Is it
them ranked.
USF?
It is not USF. I'll go ahead and get into
Can you
it.
give me a conference and then I'll throw
It's
out one
Big
more
12.
guess?
Big 12.
Arizona State.
Yeah.
It is indeed Arizona State.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and walk through my ballot. It's up on the screen now, and I'll pull it up. At number 1, I still have Indiana, but I do have some movement below that. I move Ohio State up to 2 and drop A&M down to 3. Ohio State has continued to kind of rack up like the tier 2 wins, Minnesota, Illinois, Penn State, like depending on what you think of Penn State, whether you view them as, the talented team that they are, or you view them as the 3 and 6 team that they are. Is that what they are at this point?
I can't remember. Don't
Yeah.
ask me.
And then A&M early in the season has that tough challenge at Notre Dame, but I feel like as the season is worn on, they've faced like some of the bottom end of the SEC play, so that's why I give Ohio State the nod over A&M.
We're just hating. Crazy.
All right, yeah. At 4, I've
You
got
saw
Georgia.
firsthand last night how hard it is to win at Missouri.
Yes.
True. At 4, I've got Georgia. At 5, Texas Tech. Ole Miss at 6, Oregon at 7, Oklahoma at 8. Oklahoma is a big mover because they beat Alabama, and when you rank them close, like I've got to give Oklahoma the nod. So like I think at one point I had Alabama at 8 and Oklahoma at 10, and I was like, well, those teams are really close. I feel like I need to give Oklahoma the nod there and move them up those extra couple spots. So Miami and Notre Dame do not move at 10 and 11. They're still sitting there. Vanderbilt drops a few spots to 12. At 13, we've got BYU, who moves up 1. USC moves up a couple. USC, I think, has some good wins in Michigan, Nebraska, Iowa, and then below them, you've got Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is a really tough team to rank, in my opinion, because they've got a really good record, but they haven't really. They played Clemson. They beat Clemson. They beat Duke. The Clemson team that we now know to not be great, but at the time they were good.
They're a bowl eligible team. They just beat Louisville on the road.
Yes. Sorry, they are not the preseason top 5 team we thought they were. And where were they ranked at the time that they lost? They were still top 10 when Georgia Tech beat them. Is that right?
They were in the teens, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Michigan at 16, Utah at 17, Texas at 18, James Madison at 19, and then like JP said, a lot of G5 teams. James Madison, North Texas, UVA at 21, Illinois at 22, and then Tulane, Navy, and Arizona State round out the top 25. So 4 new teams ranked this week. And like I said, the movement is also in a weird spot for me because I made my ballot in 5 minutes. So last week's ballot, because I did it at like 12 o'clock on Saturday. So it was a very thrown together last minute situation.
I mean, my biggest grievance has been almost my biggest grievance every week, and I just still don't understand Ohio State not at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to rehash that except just mentioning it so I can say I did, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I can hold my ground.
Score up north is way too high.
Yeah.
Without question. Kind of a non-argument there. I guess I'm wondering what propels Vanderbilt higher than some of these teams below them. I think there's on the field wise, I think Vandy's better. But if you're just a resume,
Because I think
person.
if you look, I have Vanderbilt and Notre Dame right next to each other because I think they are in a similar situation where they've got a couple good wins. Vanderbilt's got the Missouri and the LSU win. Notre Dame's got a USC win, a Pitt win now, depending on how you view that win on the road at Pitt. But I think they're both in similar situations where all the eye test stuff looks great. They don't have like the huge win that some of the teams above them do. They've got good wins, and then their only losses are against really good teams. Vanderbilt's losses to Alabama and Texas, right? In Texas, you lose by 3. In Alabama, you lose that game due to some really unfortunate. You make a couple mistakes in the red zone. You do lose the game, but I think that it makes sense to rank Vanderbilt and Notre Dame right next to each other because I think they are in similar situations.
I
But
feel like
does it
BYU at least should be ahead of them.
yeah, does it make sense to rank Vanderbilt over BYU? Imagine the top 11 just disappeared and they were in a void, and you had to pick who is 1 or 2 between Vanderbilt and BYU. Who would you pick? I understand that argument, but
Yeah.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I think it's close.
And also, we're BYU pods. I need to defend BYU here.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
No, I do think it's close, but I
Because they have one less loss,
Yeah.
and they fall under the same argument you just made,
yeah,
where they lost to a really good team. And in fact, a really, really good team, according to you,
true.
the 5th best team in the country compared
Yeah.
to 9 and 18.
Yeah.
Lost on the. I mean, same situation. Lost
Yeah.
on the road.
The loss looked a little bit different. I will say that they kind of got dominated.
Vanderbilt got dominated by Bama. Vanderbilt got dominated by Texas for 3 quarters and then made a flying comeback at the end.
Yeah.
I no credit to BYU for forcing field goals, I guess, or the response they had this weekend. Vanderbilt was on a bye and
Yeah.
then had barely survived Auburn.
I was gonna say too. I heard the bye gave them some trouble.
Okay,
Yeah.
It was
At bye is a tough place to play.
it was at home too. So
I would have to go check and see who you put, who they were playing on that bye week,
Yeah.
because I know you had put that. Other than that,
It
like
might have
I
been
said-
Starkville High. I know I put Starkville High for a couple teams.
Gotcha.
I think that may be one of my favorite jokes we have on the show.
They're not a bad. Starkville High is not bad. Just think School of North too high. Ohio State should be 1, and I just disagree with where BYU's ranked.
Yeah.
Other than that, like it's kind of all like I think what I was kind of getting at with the 15 through 25. It feels just all arbitrary. It feels like anyone could have any really take,
And
it
it's
would.
hard to disagree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's
really
impossible.
Because at this
matter.
point, everyone, like, the circle of parity in that 15 through 25.
it's just jacked.
Yeah, because you've got AAC teams there in Navy, North Texas, and you've got South Florida and Memphis on the outside, but there's mutual opponents there. It's all kinds of a tangled up
That's
mess.
what's going to be fun about the coming weeks is assuming Ohio State isn't as dominant as at least you say they are, and they aren't as dominant as they were last year. It's really going to be anyone's game down the stretch, because every team has a flaw for the most part, or an event, a game that wasn't as good as you thought it should be.
Yeah.
Texas
A&M last week, and then
We had a
Indiana
half,
2 weeks
yeah.
ago. True, yeah, just a half.
The half from hell.
And
Want to do yours, JP?
probably the best half of the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
It's like an Eagles game right there for you.
As someone tweeted at halftime, it was like A&M just needs a score and a stop and a score and a stop and a score and a stop and a score, and they're right back in it. And
They did that.
we did just that.
Yeah, we can do to me. That's me up there. Ohio State, number 1 still. Indiana 2, A&M 3. Georgia moves into 4. They still need some help to make the SEC championship, but given that this is the sport of college football and given how the season is gone, what they need is pretty likely to happen. It's probably a 50-50 coin flip. but we'll get into that after we talk Georgia, Texas in a little bit. Oregon 5, I have Texas Tech 6. I really debated OU where they're at. And in fact, at one point I had Bama ranked 7th and OU ranked 10th. I had them flipped. And then I tried to contextualize what I saw in person yesterday as I was in Tuscaloosa. And I remember the text I sent to many group chats, my family group chat, our college guys group chat, my friends group chat, to my mom, which is a great group chat.
Was it you? Was it just your mom?
Just my mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you and your mom have a group chat.
Yes. You should all have a group chat with your mom. I witnessed history. I just witnessed history because no team really ever wins in Tuscaloosa. No team in the Kalen DeBoer era has ever won in Tuscaloosa until yesterday. The last time anyone had won there was when Texas went in there with Quinn Ewers and Steve Sarkisian, which is really only one of his, really the only one. There's only one other big-time win that he has as a head coach. One of them, I think, you maybe could argue last year, the winning in at A&M. And with that, because of that, even with how the way that game went, I sit here today and I think that is the best win anyone's had this year. That is just on paper, that is the best win anyone's had this year.
Really? Better than Indiana's win in Oregon?
I think it's better than that win. I think it's better than Oregon's win at Penn State, Bama winning at Georgia. I think it's the best win anyone's had this year from just an impact standpoint. And I think it's an all-time win.
Sure.
Because no one wins in Tuscaloosa. It's
And
a top 4 team in the country. It's an incredible win.
And I'll say the word impact makes me agree with you, and I like that you use that word. Well, I don't like it. It's an interesting word to use because I think that the word impacts implies that when the win happened matters. Mm-hmm. And so because we're here halfway through November with some teams with 1 game left to play, 2 weeks of the regular season left, like the wins that happen now are more impactful. And so I think that I would agree with you that is probably the most impactful win of the season because of when in the season it occurred. And also I would if you hadn't used that word, I would say that Indiana at Oregon, Oregon at Penn State, Oklahoma at Alabama are all like the same tier, and I would not put one above the other, but because you used the word impact, I think that that's a fair take.
I don't necessarily disagree. The only game I think maybe would have more impact, and it has impact in a different way, is Oregon going and beating Penn State and kind of what that did to Penn State's season and their program. But that's in a little bit of a different light, so I don't necessarily disagree. But continue with your rankings.
Splitting hairs there, too.
Yeah, correct.
But that was a huge debate in my mind, and then I contextualized what I had seen yesterday. And so I flipped them again, and Oklahoma 7, School of North sits at 8, properly ranked where they are. And we hope for good things in 2 weeks, but we'll see. Notre Dame is at 9 and the Bama at 10. I guess at this point it may end up being mine. We'll see how this show goes.
Do they have like a hand gesture, a hand symbol?
Who?
Because I like flashing Gig'em at the camera, or
Who are you asking about?
Horned
The
Frogs,
Cougars,
the Cougars,
BYU.
like BYU.
That's a great question. We should.
I don't recall one from watching the game last night.
Okay.
They probably just hit with the classic, the one finger, number one. That's a classic.
I can't even recall one hand gesture. I love watching a BYU home crowd because it's funny to see how they react. One kid drank a shoey. He did a shoey, but it was a Celsius.
Yeah, of course.
Not a beer because they don't drink alcohol there.
Did you see what they did at their basketball game, the like dating show?
I didn't see that.
It was
no.
basically like, do you agree or disagree with this? They had a guy and a girl, and at the end it was like, and they had signs, hold up, agree, disagree, and then at the end it was like, do you want to go on a date with this person? And they both held up agree. So
That's
very
awesome.
BYU. They're probably getting married in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
I hope we can get invited.
I've seen plenty of BYU student TikToks, and those are always hilarious, of interviewing students there. Their favorite party drinks being milk, grape juice.
Dude, I I love. I would go there.
Root beer, obviously.
But that's
like
not
it.
your favorite party drink.
True. But
which
if
is
everyone was drinking it, if the peer pressure was there, I would embrace it and it'd be awesome.
Sure.
at a Christmas party, that's about the only time it makes sense. I think other
Some
than that,
cookies
like,
and milk.
why are you having milk at a party? But all that being said, BYU, it may be my team. I still think it's our team a little bit, but we'll see how this show goes and how that breakdown goes. The Texas Tech BYU one did not go well last week, so we'll see how it goes here in a little bit. GT is at 12, Vanderbilt 13, and the Dukes of James Madison at 14. It feels just crazy to have JMU that
Go Dukes.
high.
It does. It feels very crazy.
But I look below them, I'm like, do I feel comfortable ranking any of these teams above them? Not really. I watched that JMU Louisville game, and so I know really how close they actually were to winning that game. And they would be 9-0, and I think they have a little bit of a difference to Boise State last year because obviously Boise State had Genty running for the Heisman potentially. But I think they'd be viewed in the same light. I think the discussion would be pretty similar. They wouldn't get the same benefit because of the first-round buys that being changed this year like Boise State did. But I think it's their spot to lose for the Group of 5 bid now that the ACC more than likely won't have the doomsday scenario with Duke winning it and there being 2 Group of 5 teams. I think it's JMU's to lose at this point, and I don't expect them to lose it given how they performed this past weekend. They blew out another Sun Belt team. They host Washington State, and it'll be a test because Washington State is technically a Power 5 team and pushed the school up north, and they also pushed another school as well.
Who was it?
I can't recall off the top of my head.
I'm not going to remember either. But just know it was back-to-back weeks.
They played Washington.
Yeah.
Who?
Was
They
it
did lose
Washington?
to Oregon State, but I don't think it was Washington that they pushed. I'm not going to remember, sadly.
But JMU, it's theirs to lose. They're at 14. USC 15, North Texas 16, Utah 17, Miami 18, Virginia is at 19, Michigan is at 20. Texas, Houston, Arizona, San Diego State. I agree with that order with you, Jack. I just have them a little higher. And then I think Go Navy beat Army because I almost joined the Naval Academy once. Navy deserves to be at 25 with their impressive win over USF this weekend.
Sure.
Quick tangent, and then we can get into the criticisms and critiques or compliments. Oh, criticisms, critiques. That's a good one.
the 3
Um,
C's.
Were you almost about to apply or about to join? Because from what I've heard, getting in is very difficult.
I guess apply
Okay.
would be the word. They did the like nuclear submarine program they have for mechanical engineers at State. They gave a really good pitch in one of my classes, and I really considered.
Oh, this is
doing
while
it.
you were in college.
This was a year and a half ago.
Oh.
I really only considered it in my mind. I jokingly brought it up to my girlfriend at the time. Well, I guess it's still at the time. And I never brought it up to my parents. So, Mom, if you're listening to this, I never seriously thought about joining the Navy. But I thought about it mainly because they were offering a boatload of money that they pay you while you're in school. And it seemed like a really cool opportunity.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm a Go Navy beat Army guy, personally.
See, I've always been a Go Army beat Navy guy.
A
And
lot of people are.
That's just, and the reason for that is I grew up watching all of these old World War II movies with my grandfather.
Sure.
Like we lived with my grandparents, my whole family did for like my whole childhood. And so lunch break, we were homeschooled. Lunch break was watching World War II movies with my grandfather.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I watched a lot of those, and I was just always an Army guy, But to your ballot, my question is, I've always been under the impression that you do these are the 25 best teams, correct?
Yeah.
And I just don't think James Madison is the 14th best team in the country. I think there are several teams below them that would beat them if they
Sure.
played.
Maybe.
Some teams far below them.
Florida would probably beat them.
Yes,
Arkansas.
But the one that stands out to me the most is Utah, and I don't know why Utah. It just feels like a team that, like, especially because it surprises me. I just have Josh Pate's the JP poll from last week, and Utah's a top 10 power rated team. That's like my one question is like, why do you have JMU at 14th? I feel like they're not the 14th best team in the country. Like, I don't have a problem with them being ahead of USC because USC is kind of a weird team where you've got highs and lows. But I feel like
they can't win on the road.
right. But I feel like Utah is the kind of team that would just beat JMU, and that they would be heavily. I don't want to say favored because you play the games, but I just feel like Utah's a better team than JMU.
Yeah, that's fair. I try to do a combination, but I like to, and this one I'm fully leaning to. This is a merit one for JMU. I just think they, with one loss to Louisville,
Yeah.
a good ACC team. I think they have shown more weeks of really, really good football than Utah has. Utah has had their up and downs this year.
Sure.
Yeah.
And their lows in their two biggest games of the season, I'd argue, unless someone wants to argue the Cincinnati game was bigger. So I think they deserve the nod over Utah. But I think that's a fair argument. There's plenty of teams that beat JMU.